Welcome to Sam's Russian Adventures. I'm Sam, an English guy living in provincial Russia, and today I'm making this video because of a video that I actually made yesterday where I went around the city of Vladimir in Russia and asked Russians, general, typical, everyday Russian citizens, their views on what happened to Donald Trump. And the reaction I got, well, initially from YouTube, the reaction I got was the content was suppressed, heavily suppressed, and most of the comments were deleted. I was having people write to me personally and say, why are you deleting my comments? Had people writing on second accounts on YouTube asking, why are you deleting my comments? And I was like, I'm not deleting anything. I'm actually out of town today. I'm unable to even answer people's comments, yet comments are being deleted left, right and centre. And I never really realised that interviewing Russians about their views about why the possible assassination of Donald Trump happened would be such a big and bad thing for YouTube. But what I wanted to do today was address all of the people that have written to me personally and have commented on YouTube asking why Russians seem to believe that the event was staged. People are very shocked to learn that Russian people think that the whole assassination attempt was staged, and today I want to do my best to explain why people think that. Now, to start with, it's vital that I explain one thing. I don't hate America, I don't hate American people, I don't hate any country at all. In fact, some of my best friends are American, and America has produced some amazing things like the GoPro that I'm using right now to make this video, right? So there's lots of wonderful, amazing things about America, and this isn't a why I hate America video in any way, shape or form, because it's not true. I don't hate America, I don't hate the American people. All I'm trying to do is give an explanation as to why people would think that the Donald Trump assassination attempt is staged. So this video really kind of doubles up, not only as why the Donald Trump assassination attempt was staged, but as to how people living outside of America, non-Americans, see America. Because the way that we see America is like one huge Hollywood movie where so many things happen. In fact, so many events throughout history are actually then turned into Hollywood movies. And so that's why you have all these conspiracy theories, because there's events that happen like that, like the JFK assassination, and then there'll be a movie made about it, and then people say, well, you know, who was it that did it? Was it an inside job, or was it a lone shooter? There'll be other like events that happen, like the killing of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X and things like that, and they'll be made into films. And so what happens is big events in American history and American culture are actually turned into Hollywood movies, and it seems quite often there's no distinction between what actually happens in American politics and American movies. And that's why we're so used to everything that happens in America as being like one big long movie. So I think it's also important to point out that people that live outside America really don't really care that much about American politics. I know when you're living in America, politics is such a big thing there, right? Such a huge thing. But people that live outside America don't really care about American politics. It's something they have no control over, and it's just something that kind of happens, and sometimes there's scandals, sometimes there's crazy things happens, sometimes there's crimes, and it's just like one big show that we kind of like consume but don't really care about the outcome. Now, perhaps a lot of you will think, well, in Russia we should care about the outcome, right? Maybe one president is going to be better towards Russia than the other, but no one knows that. The connection with Donald Trump, for example, in Russia is just something that the American media have really kind of dreamt up and made into this big thing, that Putin and Trump are best friends. Well, that's not true at all. So, you know, even if Donald Trump got into power, Donald Trump could be worse to Russia than the current President Biden, because both of these people think what's best for their country, as Vladimir Putin does, thinks best for his country. And so it's not a case of we in Russia would support one president over the other. You know, we don't have any control, right? One thing that Americans are really good at, because you are so ingrained in having the freedoms and the land of the free and changing your president every 4 or 5 years, is it? I don't even know, and that's how much I don't know about the American political system, is that what you do is something that happened under the previous country's administration, you say, well, that wasn't, you know, that wasn't Trump, that was Biden, so that doesn't matter, that's in the past. And so some awful war crime or some awful situation or horrible event could have happened pre-Biden or pre-Trump, and their supporters will say, well, that's just that will happen before him, that's got nothing to do with our president, that's got nothing to do with America. It's like swept under the rug. But you see, the thing is, the people around the world don't see it like that. If something happened 10 years ago in America, well, it still happened. It's still a horrible event, or it's still an unfortunate event, something that's pretty crazy. Whereas most Americans will say, well, that didn't happen under my president, that was their president, so that's over and done with, that's not us. Now, what America is very good at doing is being involved or committing some sort of awful act and then acting like they didn't. And this often leads to people thinking, well, hang on a second, if they're going to blatantly lie about that, then they can lie about anything. If we just pick something like a recent event like the Nord Stream explosion, right? The Russian gas pipelines that just exploded and stopped Russia from being able to sell gas to Europe. I think the whole world knows how it happened. But of course America say, well, we don't know how it happened, it's got nothing to do with us.
There will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
But how will you do that, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
There'll be things like obvious regime change in other countries, right? And everyone knows that it happened, but America were like, no, didn't happen, wasn't us, we didn't do it. And so this just builds and leads to people thinking, well, they're prepared to lie about that. What else are they prepared to lie about? And so when massive events happen like 9/11, you have people thinking, well, was it an inside job? Did they do it themselves? Are they prepared to do something like this themselves? And then you have people that think, well, no, that's not possible. They wouldn't do that. Why would they do that? I mean, that's just insane. But then after that, they go and invade lots of countries under the kind of banner of, you know, the need to eradicate the world's like terrorist people, and they'd make up a lie to invade Iraq and say there's weapons of mass destruction. And everyone in the world knows a lie, but America will say, no, it's not a lie. And then it will turn out that it was a lie. And they'll be like, well, that was in the past. That, by the time now we've understood it's a lie and not true, well, that was under a previous administration, so it doesn't matter. And so there's never any kind of consequences. America can just, if they want to, they can go and do whatever action they want to do, and then they can just blame it on the past administration, and they'll say, well, that's something from the past now, so it doesn't really matter anymore. So I'm not saying that America alone do things like this around on the world stage, right? They don't. Other countries obviously do lots of things. But what America are really good at doing is doing something, completely denying doing it. It's like a child who eats chocolate and they've got chocolate all around their mouth, and they're like, the mum will come in and say, do you eat the chocolate? And they're like, no, it has nothing to do with us. You know, we didn't eat it. And they'll be like, all right, are you sure you didn't eat it? And the whole world will know that they did something, and they'll just deny it. And that leads to people's minds, right, thinking, well, hang a second, you know, there's so much that goes on there that they completely deny. Perhaps with the Donald Trump assassination attempt, they did it too, and they're denying it. Also, one thing that America are really good at doing is when a big organization, I don't know, Amnesty International or someone like that, will point out something that another country has done wrong, they'll say, yeah, you know, Amnesty International, well done for pointing it out, or whoever it is, right, International Criminal Court, or whoever that non-government body not connected to America is, they'll say, yeah, you know, thanks for putting this out, well done. But then when that same organization points the fingers at America for something, or one of America's allies, they'll say it's a complete disgrace, we don't support the findings of this body, it's got nothing to do with us and we're completely against it, or the person that made this comment should resign. And you think, well, hang on a second, when it's condemning something that somebody else has done, then you're supporting it, right? But then when it's condemning something that you've done, suddenly you don't like those people anymore and they should be rejected. Now, I'm not saying these things to have a go at America. I'm saying these things so that you can understand why it is that non-Americans see this and think, well, hang on a second, if they're willing to deny this, if they're willing to refuse this happen, if they're willing to not take any responsibility for their actions, then surely there's a possibility, right, that when they do something, there is more than one explanation. And I think a lot of it comes from the government's refusal to even address suspicions of people into a certain event. You know, if you ask anyone around the world, they'll say 9/11 was a tragic, awful event. A tragic, awful event where loads of people lost their lives. But then there's so many discrepancies with 9/11 as well. Like Tower 7, it wasn't hit by a plane, but it fell, and it was reported on that it fell before it did, and things like that, without giving a really good explanation as to why it happened. And then suddenly that gave them the right to invade lots of countries with bogus excuses and kind of any refusal to take responsibility for those actions afterwards. And obviously they were great for the weapons companies, right, and the industrial complex who love situations like this, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a list of things that I have on my phone here right now, and all of these things are from Wikipedia, and it was just a quick little investigation as to some of the like famous things that have happened in American political and social history over the last, say, I don't know, 50, maybe 70 years or so. And these are all kind of big events, and a lot of them have then been turned into movies, and then you can see why in the movies they explore possible conspiracy theories. And then this would obviously influence the minds of non-Americans who aren't really affected in any way with whatever the outcome is, with whoever is really blamed, but they just watch the show. And that's what we all do. We watch and consume the American show. If I open a newspaper, an English newspaper, someone who is not anti-American, right, a country who is friends with America, has got no reason to be anti-America. If I open the newspaper, the front page will probably be a headline about America. America seems to control the media, and so all the stories are always about America, right? So number one on the list, the moon landings. Were the moon landings real? Were they staged? Lots of people think they were staged, lots of people think they were real, and of course there's been lots of movies made on this exact topic, so it opens the minds of people to think, well, was it real or was it staged? Next on the list, we've got all the regime changes and staged coups. Loads of them. If you go to Wikipedia, you're going to find a huge list of times the CIA and America have staged secret coups in places like Iran or Syria, or one not even far from here that I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube. Then we've got vaccines, right? This is a huge topic over in the US, not really here, no one really cares, but over there in the US, massive topic. Then you've got war crimes. Obviously, you know, the US war machine is massive. They have like almost $1 trillion war budget, you know, military budget, and so, you know, they're involved in everything that happens around the world, and often they're the instigators of a lot of things that happen as well. But they completely deny anything when it comes to them doing something that's even slightly wrong. And everybody looks at this and just thinks, well, that's just a lie, right? And so that adds to the mindset of the people that think, hang a second, everyone knows about Guantanamo, but America refused to take responsibility about it, and they're happy to just go and torture people, right? And the people think, well, if they're prepared to open a prison and kidnap people and torture them and deny any responsibility and take any action about it, then surely they'd be prepared to orchestrate an assassination against a potential candidate for presidency. We've got UFOs, we've got Area 51. These things, so many movies have been made about these things, about these places, about what goes on there. And so, of course, people are like, well, hang on a second, if they do that, then the chances are that they've done that too. Then we've got the deep state, forever wars, the weapons companies that seem to just love to take those taxpayer dollars and put them in the hands of those weapons companies. And America does seem to love forever wars, even though they deny this pretty much and just say they're intervening to help people. Then we've got non-political figures who sometimes have maybe attachments to powerful people such as Jeffrey Epstein. Then we've got, who else we got on my list? We've got the New World Order, we've got Freemasons, Rothschilds, secret societies, all of these things heavily documented. Now, I don't really care if they're true or not, got no idea if they are, but what this does, it adds to speculation of, well, hang on a second, if they do these things and they have these societies and these people that apparently control the world, you know, what else are they capable of? It allows people to be influenced, and they think, well, therefore, things like the Donald Trump assassination could be staged. We then have loads of celebrity scandals, and celebrity scandals are things that always look suspicious and kind of add to the whole, you know, what do we believe kind of what's going on in America thing. And it's things like the Michael Jackson, you know, child abuse cases, and then the suspicious death, and Biggie and Tupac and all of these people, Marilyn Monroe, right? People like this, how did they die? Was there a cover-up? All these things. And then there's obviously movies made about it, and it all just adds to this whole kind of show that is America. If you add to that things like all the pronoun stuff, and I don't know, and putting kids on drugs when they're like 5, or, you know, changing their sexual identity, or, you know, all of these things just add to the show that is America. And so if you're an American, you think, well, why on earth would, you know, anyone think that the Donald Trump assassination was staged? Well, if you live outside of America, and these are the main points that you get taught about, right? These crazy things, right? Every year there's a couple of things that will happen that will just be like, whoa, that's just so fake looking, and it could be staged, and surely they're not telling the truth about this. So, and then of course there's a movie made about it, right? And of course, when something happens, of course you would think that there's a possibility of it being staged. And so that's my example. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, I'm not trying to highlight all the bad things about America. I'm trying to show why people, why non-Americans would think that things like this are staged. I can make a video about all the things I love about America if you'd like to. There are loads of things. Some of my favorite people in the world are Americans. Shout out to Mark, one of my good American friends, and also to Matt, another one of my really close American friends, and also have quite a few other nice American friends and supporters from YouTube. So leave me a comment, let me know what you thought about this video, and I'll see you in the next one.